There are 88 keys on a standard keyboard, and at some point, you're going to have to make the leap. Literally, you're going to have to jump around from one note to another. And if you panic whenever you have to take a leap on the piano keyboard, or you just kind of close your eyes and hope for the best, then you definitely want to watch this video because I'm going to show you an insider tip. You know, I don't do tricks or hacks, but there are certain things you may not know if you haven't studied with a high-level teacher. And because I'm your best piano playing friend, I'm going to show you this one super important tip right here in this video. Let's get started. All right, I want to say a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to show you some ways that people move around on the keyboard that is not correct. But I'm not making fun of you, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you for doing this. However, it is severely limiting your ability to play smoothly and beautifully. And the second thing is that this technique works 100% of the time, but you have to practice it. So you can't just watch the video and say, hey, that was an amazing tip, thanks, and then walk away. You actually have to do this stuff. And after I show you this technique, I'll give you a way to practice it in a simple exercise. Here we go. So the first way of moving incorrectly from one note to another note far away is what I call like the dead man's arm, okay? Meaning it just kind of goes like this. You play your note and then you take your whole forearm and move it across like that. So there's no motion in your wrist or any of your joints really, other than just kind of going side to side like that. I see it a lot. Like if you, let's say you're playing a C chord, then you're going to go to a G chord. Watch. See how I just kind of stuck to the piano? Now, I understand why people do this because it's scary to let go. You want to stay close and keep track of where you are. I totally get it. But it's not a great way to play. Now, here's the second way that people move across the keyboard that is stopping you from being able to play well. And it is this one. You pick up your hand straight up, and then you move across, and you go down again. You pick up, move across. Do you see how many movements I'm making? Too many. And if I need to move fast, it's not going to work, okay? So what we're going to do is think about moving directionally. Here's what I mean. After you play a note, let's say you're going to go from C to E, and you're using first finger to third finger. So I know that after I play the C, I'm going to go to E. That means as I play the C, when I let go, I'm going to take my wrist in that direction, hover above the note that I want to get to, and then drop in. You see that? So I'll show you in slow motion again. I know the direction I'm going, so I have to know where I'm going. And you see that my hand hangs below my forearm. My wrist lifts up, forearm lifts up, but because the wrist is so relaxed, the hand just kind of drops, right? Like a dead fish, I always say. I'm gonna lift in the direction that I'm going. So depending on how fast I have to go, I will give more or less push off. So think of being on a diving board by a swimming pool. If you want to jump up high, you really have to push off with your feet. You got to bend your knees and push off. If you just want to kind of fall in slowly, you don't really have to push off. So let's pretend I'm falling in gently and slowly into the pool. I just lift. Do you see how my hand is kind of angled? I'm stopping it for you like mid-flight so you can see this way, and I just go and land. Now I'm staying really close to the keys the whole time, so you still get your sense of security. You don't have to be up in the air. In fact, you really shouldn't most of the time. And here we're learning a basic skill, so you don't need to be up in the air at all. Stay as close to the keys as possible. Let your wrist lead the way. What if you're going from here to here? Again, your wrist has to lead the way. So I know I'm going to go from E to C. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. What I'm going to do is lift in the direction that I'm going, and like that, staying close to the keys. Now, if I have to go fast, let's say I have no time to get there, it's going to look like this. So I'm giving like a little push, like launching a rocket. I'm stopping at mid-air so you can see, like that. And I'm still staying close to the keys, but I'm pushing off with more energy. All right, let me show you that with the left hand. I'll use the C again. So let's say I'm going to second finger. So I'll do another interval of a tenth. I'm going to go pretend I have a lot of time. Now, the angle with which you'll move depends on a few things, like where are you in relation to the keyboard? You know, it's going to be different angles, and also what fingers are being played. So you have to really kind of experiment with this to find the right movement for each instance that you're going to play in a piece of music. But as always, you want to learn the skill, right? Don't worry too much about how you're going to apply it. Teach your body this movement. All right, so I'm going to go C to A, first finger to second finger. Here we go. So I didn't have to do a lot of this because that doesn't make sense. Then I would have to rotate again. See, that's what I mean by it really matters what fingers you're using. So here, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to use my second finger. Look, it's up in the air. There's no way I can use it. So I'm going to let the wrist go, but the fingers, do you see that? Like that. If I have to go fast, I push off with more energy. I have been playing for a really long time. My accuracy is almost 100%. It's not 100%, nobody is, but it's really, really good because I've done this a lot. The first few times, or maybe the many times you try to practice, your accuracy may not be as good as mine. Does that mean that you should just stop, throw your hands in the air, shake your fist at the sky, and say, I'm just not cut out for this? I hope you said no. Instead, you should be practicing, but not just like repeating over and over. You should be wondering, asking yourself, all right, what went wrong? What happened? Did I overshoot? Did I go farther than I wanted? Did I not go as far as I wanted? Did I come up too high in the air and then I had to come back down and find the note again, right? Did I not let my wrist relax? Because if it's not relaxed, it's really hard to control. Now I'm going to show you how to use this technique in a piece of music, actually 2 pieces of music, and then I'll show you the exercise. So the first one I'm going to show you is a simpler piece, more on the beginner level. It is Bach's Minuet in G. And this is going from the A section to the B section. All right, so the A section ends on a G. And you see like that double bar line? Okay, that means the next thing coming up is going to be the B section. So we're going to go from G to B, from first finger to fifth finger. So, and it's not a very fast piece, and you have 3 beats to get there. Remember, you don't have to hold that G for 3 counts just because it's a dotted half note. You let go a little bit earlier. So what I'm going to do is play the G with my eyes. I'm going to find the B, just kind of like lock in on it with my eyes, like almost like there's a bullseye on it. When I lift, I don't do this straight up in the air. I don't do this. I know this seems like, oh, well, that's a much easier way to get there. No. Okay. So you want to lift, stay close to the keys, and drop in. The dropping in is allowing gravity to pull you down like that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1. That would be like the tempo. So we ended on, I'm not putting hands together because I don't want you to get distracted. I want you just to learn this movement, make it familiar in your body. Because when you try to apply it immediately to a piece of music, you might panic, okay? So don't worry too much about, like, what am I playing? Don't worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to play the last 2 measures. Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, right? And as I drop, I let my wrist follow through, relax, okay? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. I left a little too early there. Okay, so I was just there and I can wait. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. All right, so no sense of panic. Now I'm going to show you how to do that with the left hand with a much more advanced piece, Fantasy Impromptu by Chopin. And this is the middle section that is in D flat major. So this is measure 43. Going into it from 42. So the last note of measure 42 is A flat, and it's tied, and I play measure 43. Now I have to go from here to A flat with the third finger. So essentially that third finger is going to be going up an octave. Here's what I do. You see that? My fingers are almost skimming the tops of the keys, especially with the black keys. Like the black keys are narrower than the white keys, so it's easier, I guess, to fall off. So you don't want to move more than necessary. Keep your movements really economical, okay? So here, and because there's very little time to get from here to here, I'm really doing that push-off thing. That. Okay. Again, at first, if you're working on this piece, I hope that you are at a certain technical level because it's pretty complicated. But like that. And so on. Okay. So you can practice each hand by itself. I'm about to give you an exercise. I just want to say, probably some of you are going to comment saying, okay, yeah, that's fine for the exercise, but how do I actually apply it to a piece of music? Again, you're jumping ahead, my friends. You're always jumping ahead, too far ahead. You got to take it one step at a time. Great pianists are not made in one video or even one course or one book, okay? It's basically you're building a library of skill sets, right, that allows you to do the things that you want to do at the piano. Here is the exercise I want you to practice. I'll show you right hand first. We're going to play a C major scale going up one octave, but we're going to do it in a very specific way. The thumb is going to play the scale as you know it, okay? The fifth finger is going to play the scale, but it's going to start on E, like that. So I'll show you nice and slow. Do not try to do this fast. Go for accuracy of the movements that you're asking your body to do. Okay, so now going to D, up a tenth. That's an interval. E, G, F. So you see, it's kind of like just jumping back and forth with your arm, but your fingers stay very close to the keys. I hope it's picking up on the camera. Like that. Okay, so do you see how much control there is? There's no last minute grasp, like, I better get it right? So everything is planned. You want to teach your mind and your body to move with intention, to move with comfort. Like things should not feel panicky. You want to feel comfortable and like everything is under control. Will it be under control at first? Probably not. I don't know who you are and I don't know where you're starting. Don't ask me how long it's going to take you. I don't know, okay? But you have to practice this. Now, you can also go the other direction. Start on C, and we're going to go down to A. That's also a tenth. A tenth is an interval. It's a distance between two notes. So starting on C, think of it like a really relaxed game of ping pong. This guy hits, and this guy. Of course, I don't want to use the word hit in piano. Hopefully you know what I mean. And it's good to go at least an octave because as you can see, the angle of my approach is changing depending on where those notes are, okay? And if your hands are different size than mine, then it's going to feel different for you. Maybe this is too easy. Maybe you have really big hands. Okay, go from C to F. So you're going an interval of a 12th instead of a 10th. And you want to keep it, at first at least, keep it a standard distance so that you can plan what you're doing. Okay, let me show you with the left hand. So we're going to do left hand starting on C, and it's going to go up the scale with the pinky, and the first finger is going to start on E, and it's just going to go up the scale with the thumb. Okay, so here's how it goes. Don't try to go for a speed. Now, this is also good mental practice because you have to keep track of where you are, right? What note am I on right now? Okay, now we're going to start on C and go down. Still going a 10th. If you can't remember this, write it down. You're going to learn it a lot better if you write it down than if I write it down for you. Now you can also, use different fingers. You can use 2, just going 2 back and forth. Whatever you want, make it your exercise. The 1-5 is a place to start. You can do 2-4. You can do different scales. Let's say D major. And so on. Okay, so the possibilities are unlimited. Basically limited by your imagination. So you can use different fingerings. You can use different intervals, distances between notes. You can use different scales, right? So already you've got like an entire course that you can create for yourself just with this knowledge. Now, usually when people practice scales, they do it just one way, right? Like up an octave or 2, coming back down. Okay, great, no problem. But actually, scales are magical because you can use a scale to train yourself in different technical skills and different theory knowledge, understanding the language of music, which makes you a much better pianist, means you can learn faster, play better. So if you want to learn the 6 skills that you can master with one scale, you definitely want to watch this video over here. Keep practicing, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Bye.